What's up guys, and welcome back to Pop Beat Breakdowns. In today's video we're going to be breaking down an indie pop beat which you could describe as in the style of lany or lauv, or even a suggestion from one of the viewers who listened to this beat when I first uploaded it, M83. The whole point of this video is I'm going to break down how I made the production step by step so you get the best understanding of how you yourself can build an indie pop beat in this style. If you are new to this channel, make sure you smash the subscribe button right now, as it's not only is it the best way to support the channel, but also make sure you never miss another video like this, because we break down multiple different types of beats in different subgenres of pop music every single week on this channel, and I wouldn't want you to miss that. And now a new feature part of Pop Beat Breakdowns: every single beat that you listen to on this channel, including this one, is now made in real time on TikTok Live. So if you want to watch these beats getting made in real time going forward, I highly suggest you go and follow me on TikTok. My TikTok handle is @JoeGautry, and as I just said, every single beat you will see getting made in real time every single morning, Monday to Friday, as an expansion of this YouTube channel. I will leave the link below if you want to click on that afterwards to go follow me on TikTok to make sure you never miss them live. But now I've got that all out the way, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into Logic Pro X and let's break down this indie pop beat. Okay, so firstly, let's give a quick 20-second snippet of the song so we know exactly what it is we're breaking down today. As you can hear, there is loads of different layers to this production, so I'm going to make sure I break them down step by step so you know exactly what is going on in this production. Now, today's production started from the first instrument that we have highlighted here, and that is the modern classic, and this is a Logic Pro X E-piano. Let's just quickly play this by itself so we can hear exactly what's been played. As you can see, it's really nice and ambient. Now, I've only added two things to this to get it how I wanted to. The first thing was the ROM reverb. So if you've got any reverb at all, it is a 4-second reverb, which we've got 43% of the wet signal mixed in, if you want to replicate that reverb. And then as for the chorus, we wanted this to go out to the sides of the mix, so I added this chorus effects to really create a spread in the piano so it's not straight down the middle. This allows more room for other things like the kick and the snare to punch through as well in the mix. Just thinking ahead of schedule. Now, the next thing we wanted to add in was layering on top of this. Okay, next I added in some electric guitar, and we are using the electric vintage for the guitar today, and the sound we're using is Cold Lake, just really nice and ambient reverberant. You can see here I've added in the ROM reverb again with a tape delay, just so we really get that ambience across. Layered with the E-piano, you get this. And again, that sounds really cool, but I wasn't done there with the guitar because we needed something to cover the right side of the mix, because this first guitar was pan hard left, so I wanted another guitar which was pan hard right. Exactly same guitar, but doing a slightly different pattern. So let's have a listen to these two together first so you can see what it is that's happening. Now, if you've got headphones on, you'll be able to hear on the left side of the mix and the right side of the mix, the two guitars are pan hard left and hard right. Again, this creates a nice stereo spread. So then I wasn't done there with layering guitar. Now what this is again, this is just playing the electric vintage melody. It's the plain octave, something with a little bit more distortion on it. But if we open up the MIDI, you'll see this is loads of notes played really quickly to replicate someone very frantically picking a guitar. This again is just starting to create layers for the guitar, because this is an indie pop song, but I wanted to be really guitar driven like you hear in a lot of lany songs. So then we got one more layer just here, which I'm going to play you now, which is the muted guitar layer. So when you put all of the guitars together, this is what it sounds like. Sounds really cool, and it's got a lot to it. Next, we're moving on to the drums, because the drums was a really big section of this track today. We actually layered a couple of different drums together, creating a different stack, because I wanted to get some elements from certain drums that you hear in Logic Pro X mixed in with a couple of other things. Because firstly, what we're using was the Ultra Beat. Now, for those of you who don't know where Ultra Beat is actually one of the drum machines that you get in Logic Pro X, and I used a lot of different sounds from them to create the desired drums that I was going for. So let's just have a listen to the drums all together before I break them all down individually. Now, I really like the electro bump kick because I really felt like it had some really nice muddiness to it, which I think could give a little bit of an edgy sound in the production. So I was very happy to have that in. Then the only reason I've got the analog circuits in here is because I really wanted to add some toms, and these are some toms which I really favour for the transitions. Just have a listen to these. Which I just think is again, it just sound really solid and I just like the sound of them, so I decided to have them in. And then on top of the drums as well, we've got these crashes here. These crashes have actually sampled from Splice, and I've reversed one of them to create this reverse riser, and then we've got the crashes. Again, it's really cool and it adds an element of ambience. So when we listen to the track so far, everything we've broken down, this is what we've got. So just from the first three elements that we've added, the electric piano, the guitar and the drums, you already got a production which has really started to come together. And that's why it's really important to get them first initial ideas down, because if you get them down, then that's how you can really start to see a clear path on how your production is going to be built. Next, I wanted to add some sort of pads and everything like that. So what I've done now is I've gone and I've added in, I actually can't remember what this one is, so we're just going to quickly click on it. It's the grandeur. So sorry, we were layering the piano next. So we've got two piano tracks right here, and one of them is playing the main chords, one's playing the low chords. Now, the reason why I've got a mid and a low piano and MIDI is not only can I create a nice stereo spread by doing the following. If I go into my first piano track and I put in a sample delay, I can sample delay one to the left, and then take that same sample delay, put it to the right, and then sample delay it to the left, and that means we've got this really nice stereo spread now where we've got the low piano on one side and the mid to highs on the other, creating what would almost be a stereo recording of an actual live piano, which is why it's good to have your piano in two tracks. Let's first have a quick listen to the piano that we've got here. And what I really love about adding in these low parts of the piano as well is it adds a really nice stamp for the rest of the song. So just playing everything with it, what we've got so far, let's just have a listen to what the piano is doing now to the production. Here we go. Starting to cover the low end, which, speaking of the low end now, the next thing was to then add was the bass, because the bass ties really nicely into the piano, and I'm using the 90s stereo bass there, keeping it very simple with the bass line today. If you want this sound, you can find it in Logic. If you go into bass in the synth section, you can get 90s stereo synth bass. I like this one just because it's quite underlaying and it's very bass heavy, so it doesn't add any sort of melodic value or anything that's brighter to the mix, but you definitely get the low end from this bass. Now the next thing to start was really adding the ambience and the feel for the song, so I wanted to then layer in a couple of different pads so I could really get a feel for the emotion that's behind this track. These are the three things that I've stacked together in terms of pads. Have a listen to them before we break them down. Now what's very fundamental to know about this, one of the pads is covering more of the low end, one's covering the high end, and one's covering a little bit of a rhythmic quality to it. So the dark background pad I had in as the mid to lows covering of the pad side of the speaker frequencies in this production. So they're just playing the chords. It's very simple, but by itself, like, this covers a good amount of frequency range for the pad section. And then next we have the rain clouds, and the rain clouds is playing the rhythmic side. This rain clouds thing has got a lot of energy to it, and that's why I want to add in, because it's something that's to flutter in the background, just adding a couple more details to the production. And then lastly we have the airways, which is probably a favourite of this channel. This is probably the pad that appears the most, but it has some real nice airy breathiness to it, which can lay in the background of any production and not sound out of place. Have a listen to this. If you want to know where this one is, by the way, this is a Logic pad in the pad section in Synths, and you can find it right at the top. And then basically that is the whole production together. The one thing that we wanted to then add lastly was some sort of melody to really tie this whole production together. And I wanted something interesting, something different to be a melody. So what I've done is added a bell synth and added the Chimera bells. And this is the melody I came up with. something more delicate, but then I wanted to make it a little bit more intense, so I've added in this vintage brass synth, which is doing the exact same melody, but have a listen to what this now creates to the melody. Because that's what I really like. Sometimes in indie pop there's a lot of experimenting going on with sounds, and I wanted to really try and get that across in this production, hence why I added in this vintage brass synth. So when you put it all together, this is what the finished production sounds like. Just some bonus bits of advice from this production. Because it's a 4-chord song, what I really want to try and get across to the listener to not make it sound too repetitive is developing and adding an idea every 4 bars. This is a really good production technique, especially if it's a 4-chord song, because it allows you not only to keep the listener engaged and wondering what's coming next, but it also means that even if you have a limited amount of resources, you can take in and add ideas at a certain point to make your productions have longevity and interest over time. For example, here in the intro we've got one thing going on, in the verse this is what it is, and then in this verse we add second part, we add this pad. It can be very simple. Even if you're just adding one element, it can really change things up and keep the listener interested. And then, by the way, for the last thing that we've done, we've actually added a key change. Now if you want to add a key change to your songs, it's very easy. Sometimes you just need to find that one note which helps transition into the key change. So listen to what I've done here and have a listen to this chord right here when it gets to it. Just the last note. And the easiest thing about key changes is that you can just shift everything up by 1 semitone, and that works as a key change. That's exactly what I've done. The only thing I've done to tie it all together is adding in that chord, so it works and it's very easy to do. So yeah guys, I hope you really enjoyed this beat breakdown of an indie pop beat, and if you did, make sure you smash the subscribe button as the best way to support the channel, and make sure you never miss another video like this. But yeah guys, thanks so much for watching, keep making music, and I'll see you in the next video.